Welcome to a very special live launch party for 0 hour 2113 from Black Hare Press. Now, as we go along tonight, we're going to have several guests. I will introduce them all in turn. We will also have snippets from everybody's chapters, including myself. Then we will open up for a live Q&A with you guys, the viewers. So what you need to do is get some questions in. If you want to ask anything, get them in there. If you have any specific ones for specific people, put their name in. If not, we'll ask them to the entire group. We will also have a prize draw, and basically you'll be able to win the prize. The star prize is one paperback copy of 0 hour 2113, and there will be 2 digital copies for the runners up. I will tell you how I'll go about that later. For now, that's Black Hare Press on the screen at the minute. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on my first guest. Now, to anybody who's vaguely familiar with these kind of things that I do, this guy's going to need no introduction. He is the hail to my pace, Alec Guinness's love child, all the way from Galway, Mr. David Green. How are you doing, sir?
Hello there.
Hello there. Yeah. You need the hand. You need the hand, mate.
Hello there. I'd be pretty old if I was Alec Guinness's love child, because he would have been quite old as well now. So
yeah,
just think about that next time you call me that, because I'm not that old. I am old.
I actually meant to say Obi-Wan Kenobi's love child, but my mind went completely blank.
Yeah. It's fine. I don't really care, to be honest with you. You can say I'm anyone's love child. I'm your love child.
Because at least there's love, eh? You're a Beatles fan, man. All you need is love.
I hate that song. I hate that song. Yeah. I am a big Beatles fan, but I hate that song. It just winds me up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right. Now, at the bottom of the screen, folks, that's this fella's website. So if you want to check out more about this guy, that's how you see it. Right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave him be. He's going to read you an excerpt and tell you a little bit about his chapter in 0 hour 2113. Take it.
Thank you. Okay. So my chapter comes, I think it's the 4th chapter in the book. It follows on the 1st chapter in the book, which is You'll Hear Soon by Chris Hewitt. So the structure of the book is kind of like this. There's an inciting incident, and then there's the end chapter where there's the resolution, and then in between it there's a 24-hour period where something is counting down to 0 hour. So all our stories take place in this 24-hour period. So some of them link with other ones, some of them don't. But my one is basically follows on from the 1st chapter of the book. So I'm going to read you a little part of it. So with this, the main character, Zoe, who is a police officer, is going down to question a person called Bronco, who is someone who has a lot of kind of intelligence of things that are going on in London. 2113. He's a character that's in Gregg Cunningham's chapter as well, so he pops up in a few chapters actually. He's very anti-augment, which is basically, in cyberpunk, is when you're putting different kind of devices onto yourself to kind of make yourself more like a cybernetic person. And he's very anti that, but he knows pretty much everything that's going on in London. So this is her Zoe approaching him. He nods as I sit down. I feel like I'm visiting the superintendent. I remind myself Bronco is a thug, a criminal, a human, albeit a useful one, which is why he's not rotting in a cell. Bronco's approaching his middle years. He wears a wide-brimmed cowboy hat, like the ones from the old Hollywood movies. His hair is raven-coloured, and he sports a neat goatee with a smattering of salt and pepper. Oh, and he's missing an eye. Most replaced their oculars by choice, not Bronco. Don't know how he lost it, and he wears an eye patch instead of a shiny augmented replacement. I've never been able to prove he's a member of the Brotherhood of Flesh, the natural human occult, but he's got links. Then again, Bronco has ties to everything. Zoe, he says, glancing at a data pad on the table. I fight down a flash of annoyance. He never calls me Detective Inspector. What brings you to the Thunderdome? He holds a slight sneer in his features, just like he does when he talks to any augmented. He knows I never had a choice, though, if I wanted to be a cop. I've forgotten why, but once I did. You know why I'm here, Bronco? He lights up a cigarette and takes a drag, blows smoke into the ceiling. It hangs above us like an elevated fog. How's the husband? Raheem, yeah? He says, rolling his neck and shoulders. Fuck off, Bronco. Heard from the kids? He's trying to put me off balance, and it's working. I force my metallic fingers to ease their grip on the table. It's not like he knows about my private life. It's not that he knows about my private life. That's Bronco. It's just because I missed them, and Raheem betrayed me. We'd argued for years about my orgs, my job, always my fucking shit. He's happy enough to live off the benefits of having a detective inspector for a wife. His finding my stash of jet ended things, but he used that as an excuse to hold on to my babies. Fuck Raheem, and fuck Bronco too. I tell him as much, and he smiles. I don't have time for games, I say. If you like, I'll come up with a reason to move our discussion to the precinct. You'll be out by tonight, but think of all those lost minutes you'll waste. Bronco laughs and slaps the table, making the datapad bounce. I like you, Zoe. Too bad you're a cop. You'd do well working for me. He stifles a yawn. I flick on my emotion reader org. Every advantage counts with Bronco, even if we're carrying out transactions to our mutual benefit. My visual overlay zooms in on his facial features, his heart rate and temperature appearing in the top right of my display. He's projecting the front, but I see the yawn isn't an act. Bronco's tired, and the muscles around his eyes and mouth, plus those in his upper neck and shoulders, are tight. He's stressed. Not about me, something else. Weird times, I say. His pupils contract as I speak, his focus intent on me. That's a pleasant feeling. If only anyone else other than Bronco hung on my every word. Drones everywhere, skies thick with them. We've double patrols on some of the AI cults too. Several informants have disappeared. Fucking riot's bad for business, I imagine. Bronco's heart rate increases. He swallows and takes a deep breath. He knows about my emotion arc, but he also understands there's nothing he can do about it. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. That's awesome. Right, I'll get you back on in a bit. Cheers for that, Mr. Green. Right, my next guest, coming from to you from the Petri dish of England again. It's Mr. Chris Hewitt. How are you doing, sir? You're muted for some reason. Hang on.
Oh man, yeah, there we go.
Got it.
Yeah, I believe. I was saying the Kent variant, I believe, is the correct term this week.
Oh, the Ken variant, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I'm just pulling up your details. There we go. So that's how you check out more stuff by this fella. Right, so yours is chapter 1. I mean, how much pressure's there, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'll leave you to it then. I'll speak to you again in a minute. All right, mate.
Yep. So I wrote chapter 1. So chapter 1, really, we try to get a feel for the world of 0 Hour, which is spread over quite a lot of the UK as it is now. Built around the city, the Mile, which is where the elites are, right through to Nineveh. Let's get that right. Which is really slumlands, and it's a sprawling metropolis, as many cyberpunk environments are. So my story picks up really trying to show the contrast between those two worlds, but through the subject of org fleets, which are basically athletics taken to the next level by companies, and there are a number of large corporations that feature quite strongly in the book, which basically demonstrate their newest models through augmented athletics, showing what their products are capable of. So the story and the part I'll read out picks up with a chap called Econ, who's I guess the Usain Bolt of the orc fleet world, basically in the run of his life, and yeah, maybe he's not going all the right way for him. So let me read this little bit. A sharp jab to the ribs, and Econ tripped and stumbled half off the course. Tyson was on his outside, intent on running him off the track. Another nudge, and his left foot slipped on the slick lane line as Tyson muscled past him, and to twist the knife caught Econ's foot. The impact threw Econ off his pace. Warning schematics flashed up, informing him that his running shoe was in danger of flying off, as emergency subroutines in his footfall augment tilted and bent his foot, reseating the errant trainer. The augment's safety routines couldn't prevent Tyson from stretching out a 10-meter lead. Two more runners pushed their way past Econ, and for a moment he panicked until he realized they hadn't pitted. The other runners would have to peel off over the next few laps. Fucking bastards, screamed Econ. Only his sub-vocal relay and Oscar would hear his frustration. All right, calm down, said Oscar. We're still in the race. Econ's retinas displays danced with orange and red warnings as his augments made known their annoyance at the rough handling. Precision racing augments weren't designed for combat. Well, somewhere in the back of Ad Technica, Econ knew Oscar would be employing every processor he could lay his hands on to calculate the best race strategy. 1 billion permutations would play out in pursuit of the optimum course of action, given their new predicament. It was taking too long. Oscar, what's the bloody plan? Yeah, Oscar, what was the plan? Asked Kerr, freezing the playback. We, Oscar stuttered. We're out of options, suggested Kerr. He scanned Oscar's race strategy data. 72 billion permutations, and not one had Econ reaching the finish line first. Oscar had dimmed the lights at Ad Technica HQ to find a solution, with no success. Oscar nodded and looked down at his untouched tea. Kerr turned to Anna. Nothing. She would make an impressive poker player. It was a shame no one would ever trust her with any money again. So help me out, Oscar. How did you do it? How did you get Econ back into the race? We cheated, Oscar whispered under his breath. It wasn't cheating, hissed Anna. I told you if I listened to you. Kerr held his hand up, and the duo ceased their bickering. I'll let you in on a little secret. I don't give two hoots if you cheated. I'm not a judge. There is no jury. All I care about is the truth. So please, without the accusations, can you do me the courtesy of just explaining the facts? We used a fighting augment, said Oscar. I didn't think Ad Technica had any fighting, or Kerr's voice trailed off. Who was being naive now? Oh, the Ad Technica flagship orc fleet was using what? Jakira augments? Oscar nodded. Anna licked her lips and looked away, embarrassed. Kerr laughed. It was absurd. Why on earth would you use a cheap Jakira org? Was £1 billion budget not enough? It's not a question of money. Just because something is cheap doesn't mean it's inferior, replied Oscar. Ad Technica, cheaper and better augments may be available, mocked Kerr. What did the marketing boys have to say about that? Both Oscar and Anna were avoiding eye contact now. Kerr gasped. No one knew? As an impartial connoisseur of secrets, Kerr revelled in the sheer audacity of their folly. Simultaneously, he trawled the tangle for some thread of their conspiracy. There was nothing. No traceable augmentation units, no money trail, not a single internal memo or report, not one loose end. Kerr clapped slowly. Oh, bravo. The duo looked at him incredulously. I'm impressed, but I just don't understand why you take such a risk. To win, said Oscar. At all costs, added Anna, fixing Kerr with a formidable glare. Do you have any clue what it takes to win an athletic championship? Oh, please, enlighten me. It takes everything, every minute of every day, testing, refining, innovating day after day, month after year, year after fucking year. We dance along the very limits of what's possible for man and machine. Everything sacrificed on the altar of speed to gain a millisecond here, a meter there. Anything less would be to lose, and at Technica does not lose, ranted Anna, her fist coming down hard on the table, spilling Oscar's tea. Anna's outburst surprised Kerr. There was no doubting her passion. It didn't, however, change the facts. But you did lose. You lost the race, you lost the tournament, and you lost econ. Kerr resumed the hollow playback. And if you want to find out what happens, you'll have to buy the book.
I love it. Yeah, nice one, sir. Yeah, what I love about your chapter is the way you framed it with like the live footage and cut into the boardroom.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really, really good framing device. Yeah,
seems to work.
Oh, yeah, it worked brilliantly, sir. All right, mate. I'll bring you back shortly. Cheers for that. Right, my next guest. He finally got cheesed off with the weather in Scotland, and he now lives in Australia. We are talking to Mr. Gregg Cunningham. How are you doing, sir? What funky shades,
right,
man.
Come on. Oh, I can't see. I'm foggy. Yeah, that's what you wear.
Yeah.
A Nunavia. Nunavia. Was it? Nunavia. Nivea?
I think we probably all say it differently. Oh,
Hey,
that's
I'm
awesome.
going to be DJ Croon in a bit. I'm looking at DJ Croon and I'm going, what the hell is he saying here? There'll be some choice words.
Yes, right. We seem to be having a bit of trouble with your feed, mate. But try and struggle through. Yeah, your signal seems to be a bit crap there, mate.
So I've changed it. Yeah, that's 5G for you here. 2G. Network's crap.
Okay, mate. Well, try and do your best, man. Right, I'll leave you to it.
Oh, no. All right, hi guys. I'm Gregg Cunningham here. My chapter. Scene. Two crooks in a bar discussing a next repo job. Right. August breeze. This
Yeah, we're
cheap-ass
having real
Shakira
trouble
Ogden
here, mate.
has been screwing me around all day, Rooster. I curse as my shoulder bolt seizes in another set of jerky spasms, spilling my Coffex down my haptic tunic. Rooster laughs before turning his attention to the exaggerated hip sway of one of the Pornhubster bar girls with obscenely large augments. And then to the small crowd of reprobates watching the open sexual cage, slack-jawed in the smoky haze of the hookah pipes. Augie, my flat-chested friend, Rooster laughs slow and deep as he wipes froth from his beard. That's what happens when you thumb-slide cheap imported Mexico rip-offs. Should have ordered yourself up a set of those at Technica bad boys. He replies in his out-of-town Yankee drawl, flexing his synthetic beefy guns under his oily overalls. The rapidly flashing neon lights of the sleazy Thunderdome bar illuminate him, making him look like a motion animation character. Two giggling cyberclunker girls, dressed in the sleaziest figure-hugging lycra suits, stumble exhausted from the stage after their full-on X-rated show. As they wipe the lube stains from their toned, augmented bodies, Rooster smiles and flexes, bumping those puppies in tandem, like he's smuggling illegal wildlife under his overalls. And the cyberclunker girls giggle again. They call this place the Thunderdome. It's where the Pornhubster callgirls come for all their business. Most people in the streets just call it Thunderdoomy, because one way or another, you're not leaving here without getting royally screwed over. It's expensive, but you won't find a safer place to hang out and do business on this side of the city walls. Digital crowns, the official currency table, illegal crumpled tiaras from a long-gone capitalist era are passed hand to hand for smaller transactions. The lawmen tend to avoid passing through here too, unless Bronco, the proprietor, has something he wants to share with them. No, they leave the stop and searches to the sky snitchers outside, police drones that rob us of our hard-earned crowns. Yeah, well, Ziggy wanted me to thumb slide them Susan crowns each arm, I shout over the classical K-pop blended Arabian beat as I try to steady the narcotic nicophy in my twitching prosthetic arm. Best I just get it fixed next time to my MOT cert is due. Croon cuts the airwaves. Yalla, peopleoids! It's time to feast your peepers on the next beauticious badasses oiled up and ready to get slapping and whacking for your entertainment. So put your clammy paws together and get ready to flash them creds. Who will win? Place a bet and it might be you. So the goon squad are rounding up the ollies of Nunanvia. And they, what the hell for? My guess is the brain-raping rascals are going to fit in with a shiny set of peeper creepers so they can keep tabs on you. Gotta be cheaper than the Turpins, right? Laugh if you want. If they can turn penguins into security drones, why not ollies? Save an ollie! Save your freedom! DJ Croon. That's my little bit.
Sorry, I nearly choked on my beer then. Yeah, cheers for that, mate. That was brilliant. Save an ollie. Yeah. I remember because I wrote a lot of custom croon bits for people, and you wanted something about the ollies, didn't you? Yeah. I still think we should have it on a t-shirt. Yeah. Anyway, cheers, Greg. I think he's frozen. I don't know what was going on with his connection there, but right. So we will go to our next guest from Cambridge, here in the jolly old UK, Miss K.T. Tate. Hello. Yeah, you seem to be muted. Unmute your microphone.
Yeah, muted.
That's the only problem with StreamYard. It tends to mute when you're minimized. I don't know why. Yes. Anyway, yeah, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad.
Excellent. Right. So, just
I was actually trying to find something I could read the story from, and it's just like I have the choice of my phone that is tiny, but my tablet has decided that it won't load any documents. So I'm like, so I have to go either close to the screen or read from my phone. Choices.
Yeah, I ended up having to buy a Kindle Fire just so I could have something here that would fit underneath the laptop that I could read from. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was just trial and error. I tried reading from directly from a book the first time, and it was a nightmare because you see how dark I have it when I do readings. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to get it on the fairy lights up there so I could actually see what the hell I was reading. Right. Yeah, right. Right, I will leave you to it.
Okay, so I'm K.T. Tate. I was really happy to be part of this project. It's been really good. I wrote the final chapter of this amazing story. I'm going to read you some of it. I'm going to read you the first bit because everything else is spoilers. It's just spoilers from there onwards. So let me see if I can find a copy of it I can actually see. Apologies for the delay. Oh, there we go. Something I can actually read. Drink. Right. They see what they want to see. Retinal implants, optics, peepers, whatever they call them, theirs belong to me. It's my code that writes images into their brain, changing with my signal. I want them to respect me and the data adjusts accordingly. An injection of perception right into the occipital lobe. Each person sees what I show them, what will give the result I desire. I need that tonight. So close to the final countdown. They don't know, couldn't possibly know the truth of it all. But the elite will flock to see their investment spent, to see how the mad genius has pledged to keep them all safe from the rabble, from disease, from unsavory bioregression and the ugliness of the world, from the end of it all. I've been leaking hints for years, dripping knowledge into their feed, stringing them along generation after generation. You want this, you need that, you're not like them, this will make you special. Liana in marketing has really outdone herself recently. The cure that isn't a cure, diseases to make you need us. It's all rather elegant, really, but then I have had time. Shrugging my body awake, net disengaged, I stand up from my desk. I live here in the penthouse office, at the top of my empire, my Ad Technica. The large windows show me a world above the smog. No other building is allowed this high. I made sure of that. This pure skyline is mine, my reminder of what I must do, of the beautiful world that is dying beneath me. My feet glide silently over marble floor. Micro-roller augments make movement slick and easy. The floor is always clean and polished. Glass cabinets display my choice of shell for the evening. I have something specially prepared, beautiful and intricate. The elite are always so wowed by a display, still just primates gasping at lights in the sky. I would say it would be next season's fashion, but next season is a myth. They wouldn't have the resources anyway. My new augments are stunning. Filigree carved ivory over a bioluminescent flesh. The flesh is an ode to our twin, our original twin, and his love of jellyfish. Those giant, near-immortal masters of the sea. It seems fitting. He was the one who figured it out, who gave us this gift of time. If he'd never plugged us in, expanded us, uploaded us, well, this would be somebody else's story, and this world would burn. I pull the smooth, white, pristine foot from its stasis field, turning it over, awed by its mastery. Wearing this, I won't have the same level of sensation my current synth skin gives me, but I don't care. No one and nothing I have to interact with tonight is worth the action potential of sensation. Nothing except this new shell. I caress the delicate handiwork, the pads of my fingers taking in the smallest details. Its smooth warmth coaxes a smile from me. Borelli is a true artist. Like most ivory carvings, the bones are a relic. Every time we gave up a body part for augmentation, it was saved and stripped. I'll wear our bones so that we are not just there in mind, but all of us represented in the flesh. All 8 previous CEOs of Ad Technica, since Yumi Asana, the one who started this plan, and now I, Rafe Delacroix, will finally bring it to fruition, bringing about a new age for humankind. It has taken generations, but we play the long game. And what that plan entails, you will have to read the end of the book to find out.
Indeed. Well, I've not read it yet.
Hey.
even though we've got the PDF copies and stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm waiting till I get the paperback. I do that with all of these kind of projects. It's it's that waiting.
I'm proud to say that my artwork of DJ Croon made it to the front of your story, the front of your chapter.
Yes, I'm really chuffed with that. I spotted that this morning. I was like, oh, brilliant. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of your chapter because I mean Rafe is a great character.
Oh, he's a complicated character.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, complicated is good in these kind of things. I mean, it's cyberpunk, isn't it? You black and white, it's all grey, So
great fun writing the villain.
Yeah, in quotes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, well, I'll bring you back up later.
Thank you.
Now for my final guest. Originally from the sunny Merseyside, he now lives in Holland, so he still likes rain. Mr. Callum Pearce, how are you doing, sir?
Hello.
How's it going, mate?
I'm good. I'm gonna have to read from my phone as well.
As long as you can see, it don't matter.
Yeah.
The thing is, I couldn't do that because I'm blind as a bat, so I'd have to put the phone on the end of my nose.
No.
Yeah. Indeed. Loving the purple light, by the way. I'm loving it. Mood lighting. I like it. Right, mate. Are you all right to go?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No.
Oh, no. Right, so my chapter, without giving away too many spoilers, is about org-obsessed cult. And quite a lot of that takes place within the cult compound. So I've chosen a bit to read that to go out to the cult compound into the city. Go out every day to do kind of community work, so handing out stuff for food parcels or stuff like that. So I'll just get started. Adam pulled on Jem's arm and led her away from the two men. Just ignore them. It's only the same things people used to say in places we grew up. You've heard it all before, and we managed to ignore it before. He gave her a cheeky smile. I know, they just get on my nerves with all that not human stuff, Jem replied. And to think people call us a cult, Adam laughed as they continued on the way. The dispensary was packed with people. They were all waiting for a small package that gave them enough nutrients to get through the day and some sanitary products. Some would stay around to sit and chat with each other for a while afterwards. Others would just snatch the package and leave. She heard the voice of DJ croon on the radio playing in the dispensary. Jem secretly enjoyed these chances to have him as background noise to her life. This was partly because of how he was strongly discouraged in the community and totally banned from where she'd lived before. Back in her parents' community, any channels that croon turned up on were placed on a banned list and the radio wouldn't receive them. Every so often he would find a way to break through those blocks and would burst onto their happy clappy stations with some promotion or conspiracy theory. She used to love watching her parents' faces turn red and puff up as they rushed over to turn it off. He was shocking to them in every way. When she'd finally got to the city and had seen what he looked like, she was blown away. His holograms were everywhere and he looked like something that had just landed on Earth. He really was something else. Her parents were terrified of him and saw him as further encroachment of the ever-expanding city. The city's long tentacles reached out everywhere, destroying old traditional towns like theirs as it grew. Him popping up on their radios just reminded them of what was coming. Adam and Jem got to work handing out the packages. Every so often a drone would swoop down and hover outside the entrance, or troops would rush past with their communicators chattering away. They'd both always dreamed of coming to the city. Jem loved the alien sights and sounds, although by the end of the day out in the middle of it, they were always happy to be able to go back and close the gates and be part of the small, safe community. The reality was hard and grim. People were starving and angry. Desperation led people to do any kind of work for any kind of boss. The lower parts of the city were run by thugs and criminals. Some places, like the dispensary, had forced themselves into the tapestry of the place to try and balance things out. Sadly, it was pitiful help compared to what was needed. And that's it.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, one thing I loved about it, because I'm a big fan of sort of that kind of cult kind of business. And what I liked about it was how fleshed out it felt. You know, it's just like, yeah.
They're creepy bunch,
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just like spot on, you know. Well, Croon calls them a freaky deaky cult, and they lived up to that.
Yeah, that was really fun actually reading the other chapters, because you got to kind of learn about your own characters from other people, which was quite nice, and what other people thought of them as well. That was fun.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about David's chapter, because his character hated my character with an absolute passion, and so do a lot of people in your chapter. So
yeah, some of them hate him. Jem loves him, doesn't she? She's quite interested by him, but then the others are a bit like,
yeah. No. Well, thanks for that, mate. I'll bring you back up shortly. Okay. Right. So it looks like it's my turn now. My chapter is the 10th chapter in the book. It's called The Last Broadcast. And it's where the penny drops for a lot of people about what's going on. But it's filtered through the wonky lenses of the erstwhile DJ Croon. Now, I'm not going to be able to do his voice half as much justice as Gregg did. But luckily, what you heard there was his radio voice. So I don't have to go quite that out of the way. Right. So what I'm going to do, because mine is, again, a bit like KT's chapter, it's kind of loaded with spoilers. So, yeah, I'm going to go right at the beginning. Croon is in his kingdom. Croon swiped the crossfader in a well-practiced motion and sank back into his wingback swivel chair. He flipped the cap on his shisha org and sucked greedily on the nozzle. Croon missed tobacco. The synthetic stuff was all right, but it was far too sweet for his taste. Still, it was better than nothing. And the enhancers that he added to the mixture certainly did the trick. Essence of squidgy bee swirled into his ravaged lungs and opened up his synapses. The music that clattered from his antique cans crystallized, sharpened, every note glittering and pulsing like newly formed stars. After a blissful moment, he removed the headphones and let them dangle around his neck along with a collection of chains, beads, and talismans that he adorned himself with. He swiveled around and fixed his producer, manager, and dog's body, Clipper, with a weary look. "Darling, I'm fagged," he drawled, his hip Nineveh radio voice dropping like a theatre curtain, revealing the true London with sprinkles of Caribbean tones within. "Do we have any of that Colombian pep left?" "Nah," Clipper answered in his chipper Cockney tones. "You huffed the lot yesterday, remember? That's why you were dancing in your underwear on the roof to the new Kabul Traveller's Cup, you big fucking numpty." A wide grin spread and bisected Croon's scarred and wrinkled features. Time and more chems than you could shake a rusty needle at hadn't been kind to the grizzled DJ. "Man, I was well mangled. That was some premium marching dust." "Yeah, well, you're just fucking lucky that Corporation Turpids didn't spot you. You're being choky now, doing a stretch for indecent exposure. They take a dim view of people waggling their todgers at their company logos, you know." Clipper took a hefty slug of gut rot hooch and passed Croon the flask. "Here, that'll give you a lift." "Go easy, man. We don't want you croaking just yet, do we?" "Yeah, well, screw the corporation." Croon shrugged and took a gulp of the potent liquid. It swept down his throat like molten lava and set his stomach ablaze. Some of the cobwebs kicking around in his head shriveled and fell away as the alcohol coursed through his veins. "Damn!" Croon spluttered and choked as he passed the flask back to Clipper. "What is that stuff? Rocket fuel?" "I did warn you, geezer. Some quality tipple and no mistake." Clipper glanced over at the digital display on Croon's decks. "Hey, ain't you better get another track keyed up? That one's nearly done and Rubes ain't back yet." Clipper had found himself having to prod Croon more and more frequently of late. His boss was becoming increasingly erratic. His paranoia was driving him to distraction and was threatening to derail the whole shebang. "You'd best make it a crapper track. He ain't even in the building yet." "Damn, what's taking him so long? That brat could get lost on the way to the bathroom." Croon sighed and selected a 10-minute extended mix of an old club favourite of his. He had a number of such tracks ready to go for whenever the call of nature had to be answered. "You'd better have got the data from that hacked Turpin, or I'm going to scream. We need to know what's going on out there. Something's coming, Clipper. I can feel it in my water." Clipper rolled his eyes. Here we go again. Croon had been crying wolf for so long that even if he turned up on stage with Little Red Riding Hood's grandma in tow, nobody would believe him. It was starting to really do Clipper's head in, but the audience loved it. Even though they rarely believed a single syllable that he uttered, they hung on every single one of them. It become like some bizarre kind of performance art. And the fact that he was sticking 2 digits up at the evil corporations made them lap it up. Croon saw it as his duty to warn his people of whatever doom was impending that particular week. He was a crusader, a truth seeker, the pie-eyed Pied Piper. As he took another pull on his vaporg, the light on his console that indicated somebody had just got past, the first of many locks, started blinking and reflected blue off his onyx skin. Speak of the devil. He checked the camera feed, and the shaven head of Rubes appeared on the screen like a moonrise. Open the door, there's a love. About fucking time. Clipper grunted and rose from his seat. The hydraulic joints in his knees whirred and hissed. Even over the tumbling Bedouin beats that blasted out of the console, he could hear Rubes' feet clanking on the gantry of the old warehouse that served as Croon's HQ and stronghold. If I find out he's been down the fucking boozer, I'll slap him purple. After unbolting the ridiculous series of locks on the bulkhead to the inner sanctum, he swung the door open with a snarl. Where the fucking hell have you been? And if you want to know what happened next, you'll have to buy the book. Right, so what I'll do now, I'll put Black Hare Press back on the ticker down the bottom. That's the publisher. They're based in Melbourne, Australia. They put out a ton of cracking stuff, like some really seriously cool anthologies and things like that. And also, if you want to get hold of this very, very attractive book, I haven't got the paperback copy yet. But yeah, if you want to get hold of one of these, that's how you do it. It's getbook.app/0 hour 2113. Okay, so now we're going to do the Q&A section. So you people in the audience, if you got some questions for myself and for the other authors, get them down in the thing, and we will go around the group and answer your questions as best we possibly can. Okay, so first of all, here's Mr. Green.
I was not prepared.
Oh, he wasn't paying attention. No, that's why I did you first, because I could see you weren't paying any attention.
I was paying attention. I was just looking at the computer. I was listening to your voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Hewitt is back, and K.T. Tate, and Mr. Callum Pearce, and hopefully, if his signal can keep up for 2 minutes, Gregg Cunningham. Right, so I'll just see if there's we've had some great comments so far about all the readings. I'll just scroll down and answer and just have a look at a couple. Right, yeah, lots of hellos. Hi guys. Yeah, okay, here's one for you, Callum. It was mentioned in David's chapter, Brotherhood of the Flesh. There we go. That's not yours, is it? Or is it?
No, they're the
they're the other one, aren't they? Because I get confused, man. No, yours is
they briefly turn up in mine, but
yeah, that's why I was getting confused. Yeah. No, because yours are superb. So I remember saying at the time that you didn't play like Observer or Deus Ex, did you?
Yeah, I played Deus Ex, but not Observer. I didn't know that one.
Yes, Mankind Divided. It was the latest one that had it was a big side quest in it that was very, cool. Yes, that's Dean. That's our erstwhile publisher there, Dean Kershaw. Right, yes. Good time to do it. Stand up, Chris.
Oh yeah. There we go.
As you can see, me and Mr. Hewitt are rocking the 2 different styles of t-shirt. Mine basically after one of the after hours sessions we did. I said I wanted one with the logo across my man boobs, and he provided. Superb. Yeah, so while we're doing that, that's a good time, isn't it? If you want to check out not just the 0 Hour merch, but this Black Hare Press merch and merch for some of their other projects, that's how you do it. www.redbubble.com.
Oh man. Jesus. Why did you do that? Why on earth would you want
Underwear.
The underwear, yeah, the David Green underwear. Yeah, we want the willy warmers, don't we, mate?
You've actually made me blush. You've made me blush as well. But, thanks for that.
If I was going to get a David Green T-shirt, it's got to be the classic Scary Snippets one with the suit and the.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, when I said about Gregg trading the shit weather, yeah, we got the trading glum weather for venomous companions. Very, very true. But as Neen quite rightfully pointed out, yeah, but they're so fun to play with. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few comments about your croon voice, Mr. Cunningham. David Green's the best. Yeah. Oh, Gregg. I don't know whether you can see the green room at the bottom or whether that's just me. All I could see was David Green pissing himself laughing with his head in his hands, and I was doing the exact same thing.
He made me channel.
Chris Banner said Gregor's croon is awesome.
I thought the computer.
You made me channel my inner.
I looked at the computer and it was just paused.
Yeah, you made me channel my inner Kenneth Williams. I was like, "Oh, Gregg."
Yeah.
No.
Nice.
Cheers.
There's yeah. A lot of comments. I'm just trying to get down to the bottom at the minute. Oh yeah, a lot of good stuff about Callum as well. Super chat from Callum. That's David Green. Why am I putting you on there? Right. Okay.
Jesus, it's got one in white as well.
Yes.
Oh God Almighty.
Oh,
Yeah, some people are like, you got the David
Give that one away.
Right, we've got a question. Okay, from Fletch. Did you discuss how your chapters in the storyline would evolve before or as you wrote it? Or was it a free-for-all? David, I will go for you for that because it was your baby, so I'll let you explain that process.
It was kind of a halfway mix, I suppose. We weren't making it up as we went along or anything like that, and we weren't sort of working in little bubbles or anything. So the idea of the kind of what 0 hour was created at the very start, and then kind of the resolution of what this 0 hour thing is, what it was happening for, in a way, was set in stone at the start. Then it was the time frame of the 24 hours where the stories all take place was set in stone as well. And then a little bit of work kind of went into like what is London 2113 as well. So we didn't kind of, have one person having flying cars and one person having a complete desert.
Monorails.
We didn't get a monorail. Somebody on the team who may or may not be in this video was very angry about a monorail, which we managed to sneak in. So we, some people had ideas straight away of kind of like what they wanted. I sent everyone out a welcome pack saying like, these are the themes that I'd like to explore with it. These are some examples of what stories you could kind of go with and this kind of stuff. Some people like Tim, for example, and Gregg just went away and did their own thing straight away. Like, just had an idea almost straight away from their own influences, from things that they like. Some other people, like KT, for example, volunteered to do the last chapter. So that one was something that was kind of more set in stone than the rest. Chris was doing the first chapter. So he had to kind of follow something that was very kind of rigid in a way, but the way that he did it was very unique and very his own sort of thing as well, which is great. And then Callum, again, he had an idea of themes that he wanted to explore. There was a bit of kind of discussion about that. Some people actually just came to me and said, give me something to write about. And some people didn't. but like through the whole process, this is a long answer. I'm sorry, but it's like it's you know, it's the way that we kind of worked it. Through the whole process, there was different stages of writing. So we had a first draft, a second draft, and a third draft. And between each one, there was a reading period where we'd kind of read each other's, give feedback, see things that people liked, things that got opportunity to cross over, things that had completely gone off kilter, which didn't happen very often, to be honest with you. But throughout that as well, we were in touch pretty much every day. There was something going on in the group. It was very interactive. I have to say, like, I've not been doing this writing thing all that long, but this has been like one of the highlights of like what I've been doing since I started it. I'm really proud of it. And I think everyone brought some amazing work to the project as well. Not just the writing, but the artwork, the travel, the enthusiasm for it has been amazing to see. So I'm very thankful for everyone as well.
Yeah, no, great answer, mate. Yeah, I just want to ask because while the rest of you have done I've done After Hours and we've discussed what influenced your chapter, I just wanted to ask Callum, where, like, because obviously I would have thought that them video games, but you never played them. So where did your idea come from?
Well, I don't know, really. I mean, David had mentioned cults, competing cults in the welcome pack. I'd started with something completely different, but then it sounded a bit too much like somebody else's idea. So then I kind of thought about that, looked at that side of things, and just kind of went from there, really. It wasn't particularly inspired by anything. It was just more that it was kind of very character focused and very kind of, it's really about Jem, who kind of thinks of herself as a bit of a rebel, but is she really? Do you know what I mean? She goes from this kind of protected, quiet community, and she goes, "Oh, I'm off to the city," and then she really goes into another protected, quiet community within the city. So it was kind of a lot about that, really. It was really about her rather than, and obviously the stuff I can't talk about. Spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the problem we've all had with this. It's like, oh, but this bit, oh no, I can't mention that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same in the After Hours interviews. It's always like,
because what a lot of you viewers, when we mention the highly talented Mr. Callum, it is this fella here who does all the production on my After Hours series, and he got mate, tentacles. That's all I wanted. Tentacles. He gives me plenty of tentacles.
I knew there needed to be tentacles.
Yeah, there has to be. Even in a 0 hour special, there still has to be tentacles. Right, we have a comment. We have a question from Dean. Mr. Kershaw. He wants to know, what advice would we give to future projects? What did we all find useful and what not so? So we'll go around the group on this one. We'll start the other end. We'll start with KT.
Advice for future projects. Well, I'm doing a future project at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think in general, this could be not just for people in Black Hare Press, but anybody doing a group project. I think,
Well, I really appreciated how organized David was and how much he was in contact with everyone. I think I held a sort of different place to a lot of other people in the group on the basis that I was writing the ending, that no one knew what was happening at the end. And
we all knew what everybody else was doing except you.
Except me. And like when David had originally proposed this, I was like, I want to write the bad guy. I think was the main thing. I want to write the villain. He's not a villain, he's just misunderstood. But it was really nice because I still had the group there and David was in contact a lot, and I still felt really part of it. So I think my advice for projects is to, if you're not leading the project yourself, trust your group lead, talk to them, get involved as well. Yeah. It keeps the inspiration going when you read everyone else's stuff and you post silly pictures, and having a Facebook group really helped, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was useful. Oh, and folders. If you know how to use a computer, make folders, keep drafts, keep everything you write. Save frequently.
I got through about 100 drafts on that because it was like every time I did another draft of it, somebody would go, "Oh, but could you mention this bit or mention that bit?" So it's like, "Oh crap!" So it was on like 8.5, 8.6, 8.7, then another draft, so it's 9.1.
You had the same problem as me in that Croon got mentioned in many other chapters, and I was the other way around, where because I was the last chapter and my character was perhaps not exactly spying but observing people.
He was omnipotent, wasn't he? So, yeah.
Then I had to know where people were at what time in everyone else's stories so that I could fit that into my story.
Yeah.
So
where is everybody at 11 a.m.? At 11 o'clock?
What is everyone's name? What do they look like? Where are they in London?
Yeah.
So yeah, keeping lots of notes.
Yeah. Callum, what did you find really helpful about this that you would take on different projects?
Yeah, I think it's really good that you've got set deadlines. We knew pretty much where we needed to be and when we needed to be there. So I think that works very well. But also I'd say for anyone who's getting involved in these kind of things, that just not to be so precious about your own work and to be prepared to listen to other people and take on any pointers or whatever, because you're working together and you all want it to be the best it can be. So, and I think some people can take that quite hard, can't they? But if you're in this kind of group, you have to kind of just go for it, don't you? And and also don't be too scared of it either, because everyone wants you to succeed in these things, don't they? So it's like you go in at first like, well, you can't really fail if you're working together and if you're taking on pointers and you're working with each other. Then I think that,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think if you are one of these, because I mean there is other people who don't take criticism very well, and don't take constructive criticism very well. I think you need to be able to in these sort of projects, because there is going to be bits that don't work with everything else. It's right. We'll go to Gregg now. Is he working?
I really enjoyed it. I just laughed. And it was if they just said go with it, I would send them an idea. I said, I want to do this. I want to have these repo men. I want to have them running about. And he said, that's great. Just go with it. Just keep checking in. Tell me what you've got. Tell me what your plan is. There was one point where we had the third character, Bronco, that came into it. And they said, yeah, I could use this for what I'm doing if you just go easy with them. So it was just leaving a character hanging for somebody else to take over. And I think it's just a case of talking to each other. Everyone's got their own. We're all talking to each other on the big group. But then there's other ones where people were getting in touch with each other and saying, look, I've done this. Does this work with your idea of the city, what I'm doing? And we had chats back and forward, and it's the story flowing, and the back hassling the guy in charge. You're talking to other people with your ideas. And that way, he gets an idea that's continuous with the other people as well, instead of the continuous, look at this, I've done this, put your homework in every 3 days. Done this, done this, version 8, version 9, version 10.
Yeah.
I say the same thing, just talk to people behind the scene. Don't keep hassling the time. Just talk amongst yourselves and have a laugh with it.
Yeah.
You can make new friends. It's brilliant. You can also ignore people.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk to him. Don't want to read that stuff again.
Right, Mr. Hewitt.
Well, the guys have almost covered most of them. I think the key one is really, David did a great job with that welcome pack, which, short of saying welcome, actually was a massive brain dump of concepts and ideas that he wanted to kind of touch upon. And then I think there were several times where we just picked the theme in the group and talked about it, just people dumping ideas, examples where they've seen variants on that concept, and then sort of, is it this or is it that way of doing things? Is it you know, where are the flying cars? Where were the flying cars? You know? Yeah, and sometimes you lose out, you know, no matter how much you argue, and you have to sort of settle with a monorail. You know? But yeah,
You put it in.
Yeah. I put it in. I got it in there for you. I did it just for you. Just for you. Yeah.
But no, I think that's it. I think, as everyone keeps saying, just it's a collaboration exercise. So collaborate and enjoy the collaboration part of it because it shows up in the work, I think.
Yeah, no, entirely. Yeah, I think that's the whole point is you've all got to get on the same page, haven't you? Right.
Yeah.
Yep, Mr. Green.
Yeah, there's some great points. Like the thing about what Callum said is one of the main things is to kind of just leave your ego out of it because, you know, at the start of this one, there was people that came up that had the exact same ideas, you know, and those things where it was like, why was it? Was we just make a private group chat and just say, listen, you both got the same ideas. Can we go a different direction on this or what? And that was it basically. And you know, it's nothing. What I tried to make clear at the start of it was that, like, you know, with this kind of industry where you're kind of submitting things all the time and getting acceptances and getting rejections, you're like, you know, there is a certain level where you are competing against other people and what have you. But with this, everyone's on board, everyone's in it already. So it's not like someone's going to get kicked out or someone's working. Yeah. It's like, you know, you've already been accepted because you know, for various amount of reasons. So it's just about getting the best kind of work and getting the best book. The other thing as well is just to actually start writing with these projects is to get something started. You know, there's nothing worse than having to wait for someone to start doing the work and it doesn't happen because people then will lose motivation and enthusiasm. And then you start running out of time because there's deadlines. So, like, you know, the important thing is to get something down. And that was the thing that I tried to stress at the start was do something. We've got different draft periods. And if it's way off kilter, we can bring it closer as we're working through it to where we need to be. But just get something written so we can start working. And then, you know, I mean, this one was very, very smooth and straightforward because we had a great team. And that's probably the biggest thing is to get a good team together. And I think we had a great team for this one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, because I've run one that's just finished as well, and I took a lot of how I ran it, how David ran it. Basically with the big welcome pack and all the rest of it. I mean, mine was probably a little bit more intense than his was because mine had to stick to some historical beats. So certain things had to happen at certain times. But apart from that, I think that's what I would say that I learned on this is if you're doing this kind of collaborative project, to have one chapter following the other, the sort of linear is really, really hard to do. And you can run into some severe problems if somebody drags their feet or there's problems with something or you have to go back and change something. It can derail the whole thing. So I would say, yeah, my advice would be also like Callum's advice as well. Just be willing to take criticism and things like that. Because my first idea got shot down because Alana Webb's was very, very similar to my first idea. So David actually, I posted it up on the group again it's all about the group. And I posted it up on there and he basically went, it's very similar. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go off and I'll figure something else out, you know. And then I thought, I basically... The croon kind of came from myself because I am a DJ and I have been known to be a bit of a drunken idiot. So a lot of croon came from myself, and I noticed that Chris Hawkman had this DJ character announcing the fights in his chapter, and I was like, right, yeah, that's it. But like Greg said, communication, I think, is the key. because we had polls and all sorts of stuff, didn't we? We even had polls about what you call coffee.
Coffex.
Oh, that was
Oh, that went on for about a week. Coffix.
Yeah. People got very into that. It was a very, like, I just thought, I had someone ask me about it, and I was like, well, I might as well throw it open to the group, because I didn't want to be a dictator and say, like, this is what everything's called, because, like, people don't like that, and it's not going to get the best work out of people. Apart from, in some instances, you have to be like that, but something like coffee, what's it going to be called? So I just thought, I'll just ask. And there was a raging debate for about 2 weeks about what the hell we were about. And it ended up being two separate types of coffee. There was like genuine coffee, and then they're like a vapor, an augmented. And still, even though we went over it and we all looked at each other's work and we all edited it, the old style of coffee still popped up in some people's chat. We had to catch before it went out as well. So it's just.
What about the money? The money as well.
God, yeah.
Credits.
Yeah,
credits. Crown. Yeah.
I think crowns was a good. I think what's that? He's just shouting stuff. He's just shouting stuff.
Max Headroom, isn't it? We've got our very own Max Headroom tonight. Yeah. The other one that had a massive discussion. What? For God's sake. The other one that was a major discussion we touched on in the last one was Mr. Hewitt's bloody pendant.
Hey.
Yeah.
So nobody gets that.
Nobody
gets it. He was right.
Yeah. It works in my chapter and your chapter. But it was the bit in the middle where people were trying to thread it and going, oh, well, it could turn up on a pigeon. So
this was Mr. Hewitt. He was so supportive all the way through, and like he was, especially at the start.
For that, for the spreadsheets and stuff.
Yeah. Like he was invaluable. However, every so often,
but
he was probably thinking, this is going way too smooth. I'm just going to throw something out there. Okay, so the first one was that he wanted like a completely street perfect map of London drawn out, so we knew where everything was.
Now that was
right, and then he wanted a monorail, and then with like 2 weeks to go, probably 2 weeks before he was like, "I've got an idea about this pendant to get past. What if we get it passed through every single chapter towards?" I was thinking, I was like, this is quite a big thing to do right near the end, but no, we could think of something to do with it. So I was like, right, let's plan it out. How many chapters do we need to have it in? And it was like maybe 3 chapters, maybe 4. And then this group of people, like I can't even remember the name of the group now. It was like pendant group or something like that.
It was basically him and Holtman.
Yeah. So I was thinking, right, it's going to be this, and this. And then I went offline for a bit. And I came back on, there was about 60 messages in this group of this big convoluted path this pendant was taking. And I was just like, lad, we can't do this. This is just insane.
The story is know when not to collaborate as well.
Because you brought it to me first. You brought it to me first, and I was like, oh yeah, fine, we'll do that, and basically get it to this character, he'll get it to Croon. That's easy. When you open it up.
Yeah. Just you wait till your project, Chris.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
To the 11th hour when someone comes up with a bright idea.
Yeah.
Hey, David, a bullet with somebody's initial on it.
Oh.
You can get it every chapter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Let's do it.
He already knows about it now. We'll have to think of something else.
Oh, crap. Yeah, we will. Yeah, something really bizarre and obscure. Yeah. Excellent. Right, we got another question from Martin Fanati. What do you like working as a group as opposed to carrying the work of a whole book individually? Right, we'll start again down the bottom. KT, what did you like about the group thing?
Well, in the comparisons to writing a whole book yourself, I write short stories, so that was something that was good about it being a collaborative project, is I didn't have to write all of it. No, one of the things I really liked was the different directions and the creativity that everyone brought to it. People had different influences and different ideas of the kind of stories they wanted to tell, different classes of people, different augmentations, like just the whole vast network of everything that people came up with. And it was so fascinating to see. And I think that creativity like that really sparks more creativity. Because I think that from the reading I did earlier, my character of Rafe is probably the most augmented person in the whole book. Considering the whole or at least one of them. So it really gave me ideas about like how far to go by what other people had. And also how other people who are had like created the world, and with Chris Hewitt's wonderful database of all the stuff we came up with, that was so great. I think the collaboration is brilliant, because I think when you write just your own stuff, there's you, and then there's whatever cat, dog, husband you're talking to about it. Or Cthulhu, yes. Whereas when you've got all these other people, you can bounce ideas, you can come up with stuff, you can share things. I just think it works that way. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah, totally. Callum?
Yeah, I think I already touched on it before when I was saying about the fact that you can read other people's chapters and then learn something about your own characters, which is it's a kind of unique thing, isn't it? You can't do that when you just write on your own. And I think that just makes your story all the richer, doesn't it? Then if you come back to it and you say, oh, now I know this, I can work that in a bit with what I'm doing and stuff. So I'd say that really. I'd say that it's learning more from others and kind of enriching your own stuff, isn't it? So
yeah, entirely. Greg? Max Headroom? He's glitched again.
All I'll say is editing.
Editing.
I think having a group of folk around to read. I've got this imposter syndrome.
I think we all have.
I
think we all get
something it, and you think, brilliant! This is the best thing ever, and you give it to somebody to read. Yeah, and then they come back and they go, yeah, that's not so good. And you're like, what do you mean? So I think having a group of critics around to tell you that you're shit and you've got to go back to version 8 is a good thing. Because I write some stuff and I send it out there and I think, bestest ever. How can you fault this? And then Dean will send me back 95% and say, what are you talking about, man? So yeah, I think a group is far better than going on your own and doing your individual thing. Imposter.
Hewitt?
Yeah, it's really the fact that, if you're writing something specifically long, there are dark days on it. There are days when the plot doesn't work, you're just lost in the wilderness. Having a group, there's always a bunch of people you can throw ideas at, or just to commiserate with you what isn't working, or in most instances to actually give you a way out. So yeah, again, the collaboration. I mean, my preference, if I had to, reduce those sort of 100,000 words, would always be to do it in a collaboration. I get more enjoyment out of it than actually working on my own for 100,000 words.
David?
Yeah, I think KT kind of touched on it writing is quite a lonely business. Like, you just sat at your own on the computer, just kind of like doing this thing where you kind of like, is this even any good? Is there any point in doing this? Will anyone ever read it? So when you do it with a group, like at least you've got another 12 people probably thinking the exact same thing, which is quite comforting. But it's also just like the diversity that it brings. Like I think the strength of this book is the diversity of stories and styles and themes, and like you wouldn't get that from just writing it on your own unless you've got so many different personalities living in your head, which some may, but you wouldn't get it. Like it's something that's quite good, and it's fun. But at the end of the day, it's fun. Like it's good. Like just see what's going on in the group sometimes, what comments people are saying to each other. It's just it makes it all kind of. There's a lot less pressure because. But with these things, like you get a deadline and you get it's not like something that you're writing for yourself that you might sub out somewhere. It's like you're writing for something that's going to be published, and there's a date for it that it has to be done by. So there is a certain amount of pressure, but because it's a team and you're all pulling together, it's not like you're staring at this date on your own. And the other people, the fun that you have with them, it makes it all kind of just a lot smoother. So yeah, I love doing them. I think they're great.
I guess
peer
pressure.
Peer pressure.
We all need it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm seriously. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much what I like about them is that as opposed to KT, I tend to write a lot of longer things. I mean, even when I'm trying to write shorter things, they end up a lot longer, and it can be pretty bloody nerve-wracking, especially when you got the deadline looming and you're hammering away at a novella and you're looking at the clock and going, oh crap, and all this, and I've still got to edit this, I'm still going to do this, I'm still going to do that. I mean, with a group, there is that kind of, the pressure is still on, like David said, but you're all sharing it. It's not just you banging your head against the wall. Yeah, and also what I really loved about it, and what I really liked about the project I ran, was everybody's individual ideas and how I could use them to augment my story, because there were so many bits in my story. There's so many bits in my story that wouldn't have been in my story if somebody hadn't said, "Oi, Mendees, could you put this in it?" And I think that's the best thing for me was seeing how people embraced my character and wanted to use the character, and it just made it more organic, I think. Yeah. But anyway, that was a great question. Right, I think we've actually run out of questions, and but I have a question because I also have. What's he doing now?
Gregg's got his hand up. He wants attention.
Yeah, we'll get to you, Gregg. Just chill out.
I've got a 3-second delay here, so
God. Yeah, we've had some. Chris Banner, who's also in the book, says she has to go to work now, but we're all brilliant. So excited to see everyone's reaction to the book. Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Scrolling up the questions, there is another one.
Is there? Where?
Yeah, Katzenberg says, I've got a question for all the authors.
It says, and a star. Where? How far up?
Quite far up.
Oh, here we go. Yep. What's the most interesting themes? That's a good one. Well spotted. Yes. Interesting themes. Right. Again, we'll go round. For you, KT, the most interesting theme that we covered?
The most interesting theme is sound educated and go how cyberization affects different classes of people.
Yeah.
Because that was something sort of very obvious. if you go through the sort of because we've got such a large diversity of characters, ranging from the poor to the very wealthy. We really look at how technology affects everyone's lives and whether it's really better or not better, or
a lot worse.
And if that's down to the people themselves, or if that's down to like the corporations that are now running everything.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, Callum.
I thought the kind of competing reactions to all of this, kind of to the augmentations and stuff. So you had, say, my character Jem came from a kind of traditional, old-fashioned kind of place, and they hated all of that kind of stuff. And then you had the cult who were obsessed with it, and then you had the opposing cult who absolutely hated it all. So that was kind of fun to look at how different people are reacting to it all, to the kind of technology and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Greg, still awake?
Yeah. I just go back to Harry Navarro's story. It just leaves me with that feeling of the psychological. Everyone's tales of how desperate and how sad things are when you're reading it that way. You know, it sounds so pitiful. Yeah, everyone's fucked in the head. And you realise that there might not be any shining light at the end. It's all just, you might be advancing up the line, but mentally everyone digressing into depression. It's quite a nasty thought. It's I don't think there's many happy stories that we've written about, is there? Everyone's got this deep and rooted sense of depression. Has anyone come out with a happy ending? I've not read the end.
That would be massive. That'd be massive spoilers, Greg. I think they're not all grim, dark endings though. There is a couple of ones that may have a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, which may be explored at a further point.
I've not read the end. I'm really looking forward to how these are all going to converge. I'm holding off. I'm hoping. A new hope.
Chris.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things I was exploring with mine was this character, this Kerr Truther guy, who was basically part of a ministry of truth, trying to collect information, facts, and it was a bit of a commentary on maybe manipulation of facts and information and truth, which is kind of explored a little bit in that story, and then K.T. blows it apart by basically. Nothing that anybody sees free of it. Literally dishing out the truth. But that was an interesting thing to explore, what the nature of truth was, given it's such a hot topic over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
David?
The one that I kind of wanted to kind of hit on in mine quite a lot, and I think it's something that's reflected in the whole book as well, which was good, because I think this is what is central to the cyberpunk genre, is what does human mean, and like how far can you push that meaning to where it becomes where they're not human anymore. So like with my characters, who are both the main character is a detective inspector, and they become detectives, basically they have to have branded augmentations, like they have no choice in the matter. So they actually talk about how like her arms and her legs don't even belong to her anymore; they belong to the state, basically. So it's like that kind of humanism thing. And like, I think that's really fascinating, and I hope like people kind of pick that. But I think it is throughout. I think it is a really strong theme that's throughout the whole book.
Yeah, entirely. That was basically going to be my answer, but also, I mean, I've always been part of a subculture, and I wanted to explore how subculture would evolve with evolution. And at the end of the day, I came to the conclusion that they'd basically be exactly the same, just different. I mean, you look through history, there's always the drunks and the rebels and the hedonists, you know. And I wanted to put like a proper sort of Byronic character into this cyber universe. I think I find that kind of thing really interesting with like you know, in literature and in books and in films, when you get these characters that are kind of timeless because every generation has them. Yeah. And I think Kroon would be that kind of character. You know,
did you realise you were actually, you know, doing Gregg when you were writing? Go on, you can admit now that Gregg was the role model for that.
You're right about Kroon would be like in the 60s. He'd be like on a boat of the English Channel doing pirate radio.
Yeah, exactly. With some of Timothy Leary's finest acid. Yeah. Yeah, Radio Caroline off his nut, wouldn't he? You know. Yeah. I love them kind of guys, man. I feel like I identify with them. Right, before we start wrapping this up, Adrian Fletcher said he missed earlier, so it's a bit may have been asked, but particularly for Dave, applying to when you read the various submissions, does that help you in any other stories? Yeah, we have pretty much touched on that. But if you'd like to basically how it.
We bring it back up.
Basically was asking, like when the stories come in, how do they change the rest of it? And we have already touched on that.
Yeah. Did it change many of the plot points though? Not so much, because this one, how to describe it the best way? The best way is probably when we talked about the other day. This is like a shared world. I see Harvey Smith has just popped up in the chat, who helped create Deus Ex and other superb Dishonored game as well. So if you're
right.
Say hello to Harvey. Thanks for joining, Harvey. Awesome. It didn't change the plot points all that much because it's a shared world anthology. So there's an end point and there's a start point. And then the stories then, what the authors wanted to do in terms of the middle, beginning, and end was pretty much that kind of stayed throughout the whole of the draft period. It was just the details in between that changed, whereas like a character from here might pop up here, a character from there might pop up there. This conversation might happen, which might, Kroon might do a transmission halfway through. There might be a result from the arena that comes through. But in terms of the actual plots of each individual chapter, that kind of stayed pretty much as they were, except for chapter 1 and chapter 13, which there was a lot of development with those, just because of the nature of them. Like the first one had to set up the world, the last one had to end it. Not end the world, but
it doesn't get that bad.
Well,
the end. Does the world end? You'll have to read to find out.
You promised.
How you define it.
The book ends, though. That's what I meant. The book does end. There is an end point of the book.
Nice. Right, I'm going to start wrapping this up because going on for ages now, which is great. Right, but we have one more bit of business to take care of, which is the prize draw. So what I propose we do, I take it most people will be fans of Mad Max, or at least know of Mad Max. Now, your characters in Mad Max all have these outlandish names, like, Toe Cutter and things like of that nature. So if you had a Mad Max character, what would your Mad Max character be called? Just put it in the comments and we'll add you into the prize draw. We'll go around the group quickly, What would your Mad Max character be called, David? Mighty Beard?
Bald bastard, probably.
Awesome. Hewitt?
Yeah.
Monorail.
Monorail what? Nice. Tate?
Witch of the Wastes.
Nice. Nice. Callum?
I haven't got a clue. Go on to the next one. Never watched Mad Max.
Sadistic Scouser? I don't know. Yeah. Greg?
Yeah. Something Queenie.
Wasteland wall
What?
with feathers in your hair.
Oh, yeah.
With a feather boas.
Yeah.
Oh,
With the feather boas.
Yeah.
nice. What's yours? Would that be yours then, Greg?
Priscilla. Priscilla the Tiger.
Priscilla Cunningham, I can see that. Yeah. Pickled pillock or something might it probably be. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. You can probably come up with better ones if you've got more time than we have. So, yeah, get them down. Give us your best, most ridiculous Mad Max names. Okay, so as before we go, that's been scrolling all the way through. It's how you get hold of this wee little book, which is out in, I guess, an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. It's getbook.app/0 hour 2113. If you want some of these funky t-shirts, not the one with David's mug on it, unfortunately, that's how you get them. That's www.redbubble.com/people/Black Hare Press. And again, where has it gone? We'll get. I've got too many banners. It's really confusing. There we go.
If you want the t-shirt of my face, please send Gregg Cunningham a direct message, multiple direct messages, asking him for one of them, please.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I know he was watching. I don't know if he still is, but yeah,
You had the
Dean
beard.
Kershaw, the
If
mastermind.
you had the beard, what would you call it?
If I had a beard, what would you call it? I don't know.
Best
BlackHarePress.com.
names.
For Christ's sake. Okay, so right. For my guests, David Green. David Green Writer com.wordpress.com. Thank you, mate. Chris Hewitt. That is mused.blog. We've got KT Tate, which is eldritch_hollow.com, which is I'm still jealous about. I love that website name. Who's next? I've lost the thread here completely. Right, yes. Callum, thank you, mate. Thank you for joining us. That's no, that's his. You pillock. Yeah, that's Callum Pearce Storyteller.com. Thanks, mate. Yeah, and Max Headroom is cortlandsdogs.wordpress.com. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Right. Should we briefly mention the sequel, which will be coming at some point in the future?
We can.
Should we just?
Did.
Yeah,
We
I just.
did. There will be a sequel. There we go.
No, we hope so. As long as the Black Hare Press wants to do one, but there is plans for one, and it's called After 0 Hour 2213.
Yes,
Name.
I already have plans. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I already have really ridiculous ideas for that one. Yeah. So finally on this roll call, that'd be me, Tim Mendees Writer.wordpress.com. Okay. thank you all for joining me, guys. And being as it is launch day and it's a party, here's some British shit poppers that don't work. There we go. Happy launch day in a couple of hours. Yeah. Thank you all for joining me, folks.
Did you go in lockdown to get some party poppers?
No, I when I did the launch, when I did the launch thing for my novella a couple of months ago, I went to Tesco's and I went to the party section, and all they had was this enormous bag of party poppers. So I've got all the party poppers in the world. I've got about 18 of those really crap rubber things that go, and all the party hats my octopus are wearing. Yeah. So there we go.
Good.
Thanks for joining us, folks. See you soon.
you.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.